Everyone. Sorry for the delay. We had a small little technical glitch, but I think we are all straightened out now. I am so delighted to be here. You have no idea. And how grateful I am that my friend Dixie said yes to this when I invited her. Of course I wore a special hat just for her. I have never seen this woman without a hat. Now, I know that, the little black one that you wear all the time is kind of a stock in trade, but I've never seen you without one. So I think it's fantastic. And
I love your hat.
Isn't that funny? It's a little
awesome.
It's a fedora. I had to get a fedora.
I love that.
I'm not much of a hat guy, but this is fun. This is fun for me. Well, I'll get this started by just saying thanks to ProPhoto for coming up with this concept and inviting me to host these light talks. A few months ago, we started talking about it, and it turned out to be just a lot of fun and something we thought would be interesting, and just having a great conversation with folks. And then Fujifilm, who sponsors some of my workshops and some of the things that I'm up to, Fuji said, "Hey, we want to help out too. We'll help you get the word out." So when they did that, so it's kind of like, so it's kind of a ProPhoto and Fuji event, if you will. And if you see those guys at a show somewhere, just say thanks. They are all so supportive of our industry, and they do such a good job for us. It's fun that Dixie and I both are pretty diehard ProPhoto users. We're pretty happy with our gear, our lighting gear, and we'll talk about that as the evening goes on. And we'll try not to keep anybody here too late tonight, but we want to get some answers to some questions I'm sure you're all going to have, and some questions that I have for this young lady. So first and foremost, I'll dig into the background and some of the history a little bit in a minute, but mostly I want to know, you have been, from what I can tell, you've been exceedingly busy through this last half of COVID, especially.
Absolutely.
What has gone on, and what have you done to build that business up, I wonder?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've definitely been keeping in touch with clients, and, it's definitely, I think, been an advantage to be in Texas, because we definitely were a lot more open than some of the other states, a little bit quicker. So definitely grateful for that. And, I've been actually shooting a lot more locally, which I've been loving, because it's like, then I don't have to travel, I can just drive to the jobs and stuff. And it's actually been a really nice change from the travel. So I've been enjoying it. It
seems like when I first met you, and you first hit on my radar years ago, you were all over the world, literally shooting those fashion travel magazine TV show things.
Yes,
that was taking you everywhere, it seemed like.
It was, gosh, Spain, Ibiza, oh man, Miami, Puerto Rico. That was fun.
You were doing some great work, and that, it can all be fun, but you got to pull it off, and you seem to always pull it off. So that's
I appreciate that.
That's pretty big. That's pretty big.
Fun memory. That's kind of where it all started.
Well, people started paying attention. That's for sure.
Yes.
Let's. Where and when did this sort of passion for this kind of work, especially the fashion looks and the fashion beauty stuff that you do? When did that passion hit you? How young were you when that hit?
Gosh, you know what? It's funny. I've only had photography jobs in my whole life, essentially, other than like 2 weeks at a retail store. So, I mean, I joined the yearbook staff in high school, and my image made the cover of the yearbook. And, I was an only child, and believe it or not, I'm an introvert. And so photography for me was like a good way to get out of my shell and network with people and stuff. But I mean, ultimately, I ended up studying abroad my senior year of college with a world-renowned fashion photographer, Jeff Licata, and an amazing teacher, Doc Mason, through Syracuse. And that is when I totally fell in love with fashion photography, just the team that you get to work with to create the images, and the just, creating anything you can imagine. It just spoke to my soul. And I said, that's what I want to do, out of any other kind of photography. That definitely has become. Is
there something about that team spirit on set also that gets you? It does me. You
That's
know,
a good way to put it. Actually,
I
that team spirit. I love that.
I know one of our guys that's
Definitely.
watching.
Yes.
Is a guy named William Morton, and William and I did a
Mhm.
shoot together,
Yes.
and there
that's
was
awesome.
23 people on the set. You know,
Wow.
I mean, there were
Yes.
people everywhere, from stylists and hair and makeup and set designers and everything.
Yes.
And those days,
Absolutely.
they're great and they're fun
Mhm.
and they're exciting and they're a rush of adrenaline.
They
But you kind of
are.
look around and you go, wait a minute, if I fail a lot of people today.
It's so true.
You
It's
can't
so
miss.
true. That is very well
So
said.
there's a bit of pressure to perform, so to speak.
There is, but if you can get past that, because I think my very first big production was that TV show, and I can remember being so incredibly nervous.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? This is the same thing that I have always done. You know, I go in there and I make pictures.
Yeah.
That
sure.
I know how to do, so I can just focus on that, have a laser focus, and this whole team is here to support me.
Sure.
You've got to focus on that as opposed to focusing on, oh gosh, what if I screw up? Because you
Right.
get what you focus on, whether you want it or not. So you got to definitely have that laser focus. Like, I'm going to pull this off and it's going to be a great experience. And that usually happens. Luckily.
Yeah. Well, and you surround yourself with good people, and it makes all the difference.
Yes. The dream team.
That's the big thing is good
So
people around you.
true. Yeah.
You know, it's funny. All the time that we do the work that we do, we kind of keep our head down and we just keep working. And you don't look up and you don't look around. You just keep doing what you do.
Absolutely.
And every once in a while, you have to look up and you kind of look around and go, "Oh man, I missed something here." and I know for me, I missed a few trends in photography because I was busy trying not to be trendy.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
What you mentioned, Syracuse. One of my heroes in the world is Gregory Heisler, who's up
amazing.
Gregory's up at Syracuse, and I remember thinking when I started really studying the work of Heisler that the thing that makes him such a genius is he can shoot anything, and he shoots it all well, from product shot to editorial to fashion to.
So true.
And I think nothing looks dated that he's ever done.
Yeah.
And I always tried to think, okay, I want to do that. I don't want to look dated.
Right.
And you've done that. Your fashion work that you showed us in Arizona recently was nothing looks dated. And I think there's a lot to be said for that. So
it's interesting.
There's a couple of people that have mentioned that your volume seems a little bit low.
Oh, really?
Your output volume. Does mine volume level seem to be okay, folks?
Yours seem to be okay. I can maybe talk louder, or I wonder if there's a way to.
No, that won't change. That won't change the output volume. But you can hold it closer, maybe. I don't know.
You sound loud and clear in my ear.
Oh, good. Okay. So let's talk about this. I know that, of course, with the still photography, that rules the world. Hey, John Cornicello. Thank you, John, for that comment. I know that the world of still photography and fashion and glamour and the work that you do rules your life, your world.
It does.
But you've made a very strange transition into the world of directing.
Yes.
And not a lot of people have done that. I know David LaChapelle out of New York did, and I know there's a few other top fashion folks that have made that transition. But it wasn't an easy transition. It was a little bit of a challenge for them.
Yes.
But I think it was because of the aesthetic that was in them that was built in.
Right.
More so than the technical, maybe, that was built in.
Right.
So just visit about that. How did this sort of come about?
You know, it's an interesting story because I started out when I was doing all these fashion shoots, and I really just wanted people to know what it was like to work with my crew and I on set, because you know, one of the big things that we focus on is creating that experience for our clients. We want our clients to just have a blast and kind of leave the set a more confident and more empowered person than when they arrive. So I wanted to showcase like people having fun on set and whatnot. So we started doing these kind of basic behind the scenes videos of all my shoots. So I would choose the music and we'd have a intern film, you know, with a little Nikon Cool Pics. And then I would cut it together using just kind of basic software. And that kind of turned into us doing and our clients asking for behind the scenes films on every shoot, because that drives traffic to the final campaign images.
Sure.
So eventually I started working with this production company who does primarily, actually pretty much only video production. And they knew my fashion background and they got hired for a hair commercial, like a TV commercial. And they didn't have, it was all males in their studio and they didn't have anyone that was super fashion oriented. So they reached out to me and asked if I would direct this TV commercial. And I can remember thinking, oh gosh, do I tell them that I haven't directed a TV commercial before? And I ended up I told the producer, I didn't tell the client obviously, that I had never directed a commercial before. He's like, no, I believe in your style and your vision and you can transfer, from still to video. So I remember, writing up a shot list and doing the storyboard with stick figures. I kind of did that. And that TV commercial, it was for Ogle hair, ended up winning an Addy Award. So it was a crazy experience, which is an advertising award. And now I've been doing more and more videos since, and I love it. I love video. Yeah. The whole transition's been interesting. I just sort of dove in just head first into that.
Well, I think that the transition from what I've talked to some other people have done the same thing.
Yeah.
Is that they have to make sure that the technical part of this world is well covered behind them. That they've got somebody back there helping them hold the base and foundation of the technical while they try to visualize and be the visionary of what's about to take place. Exactly. So you've got to get the stills and you're trying to also, wide shot, medium shot, close up or whatever it is. And you're trying to work through the storytelling of that day.
Right.
And you got to stay focused on that visual, not so much what the aperture was.
Right.
Exactly. Or wherever the meter says, you gotta surround yourself with good folks.
It was interesting because having that, I actually found video easier because I wasn't the camera operator. I was just the director. And so I could even focus on the vision more because I was able to see things that maybe the camera operator wasn't seeing and whatnot. So I loved it.
Yeah.
I still love it. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, that's great. Well, I think it's fun and it's something that, it's something that I think a lot of young photographers especially want to do. Yeah. We have cameras that have the capabilities to do it.
Right.
And this is something that we've, until recent years, we've never had that ability.
Right, exactly.
But if we can capture video with our, our mirrorless cameras or whatever we're working with for the day,
exactly.
And you've got backups of those, all of a sudden everything gets a little bit easier to do.
It does.
And the challenge is
empowering.
It is. That's the good word for it.
Yeah.
Talk to me about we have something in common. You and I might have talked about it once.
Yes.
But you and I share a client.
Yes.
Kathy Ireland.
Kathy Ireland.
You did such a magnificent job, and the job that I did for her was so lame compared to what you did with her.
I love what
you did. you did some really beautiful things.
Oh, well, thank you.
Isn't it funny when you work with someone like that? You don't pose them. You just tell them kind of where to stand.
You just roll.
They know what to do.
Exactly. If you try to pose them, they're gonna get stifled.
That stuff.
She was
amazing. That stuff that you did was so pretty, and that was in Fort. Yeah, the show in Fort Worth, right?
We actually shot in California, in Los Angeles at Edge Studios, and then in Venice Beach. We shot for 2 full days. And Kathy, obviously, she's coming from Santa Barbara, so she was a trooper. I mean, talk about a top-notch, just super iconic. I mean, she was on 13 consecutive Sports Illustrated. She's amazing, yet she's so humble.
She's so nice.
Now she has 21,000 products licensed in the market.
I know.
It's unreal. I mean, I was starstruck by her.
I was too. I was too. The day that we shot in Orange County, we shot at a DoubleTree. We were shooting mattresses for her new mattress line.
Nice.
And her manager said that they had just heard that her earnings, the corporate earnings that year had just passed Oprah. And it was like, what?
That's incredible.
But yeah, when I was in Santa Barbara, when I was teaching at Brooks Institute, her little sister used to volunteer to model for Brooks students all the time.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was really great that they both are gorgeous people.
Oh,
and but it was really nice that she was always willing to help students get along and get a portfolio piece started.
Oh, that's so neat.
Yeah,
she was amazing. That was fun. That was a big Nikon, Kathy Ireland, Dixie collaboration.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
So fun.
So the transition. You're trying to keep it going by offering now with your production, with your bids. You're trying to offer this to clients as an add-on to the regular still shoots.
Yeah,
you think is that
part? Yeah, and actually most of our clients request it. It's interesting. I feel like in the commercial industry now, how there's just so much content that they need. They need the long horizontal, they need the vertical shot, then they need video of the same shot. So usually on almost all of my commercial shoots and advertising shoots, we're shooting stills first, and then we'll shoot some video, and then they'll also shoot video as I'm shooting stills.
Yeah.
So I'll kind of direct all of that, but it's fun.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think that's something that those of us that have been around long enough, really thought about when the transition to digital took place. We didn't think about the fact that cropping and standard aspect ratios changed.
Right.
There is no standard aspect ratios any longer.
No, there's not.
We have to shoot everything or be able to crop everything to fit everything.
Exactly.
This is an Instagram crop. Here's a header. Here's a Facebook header crop. Here's a crop for whatever. And all of that really does kind of change the way we have to see and think, and even in some cases how we light.
Exactly.
That's another topic I wanted to visit with you about your lighting. Was there anybody that inspired you lighting wise? Because you really do a pretty terrific job on your sets, and of course I'm always looking at light, but
yeah, of course.
But you do a good job. I just don't know how you came about all of that, since you really didn't study for it, I don't think, in school anyway.
I didn't. I actually studied entrepreneurship and business in school. And then I also would assist other photographers on the weekend. So I assisted a wedding photographer a while. Then I started shooting portraits and, trying to just really get my feet wet. But I remember renting the studio in Dallas when I was first starting out. And it was like $50 an hour. And I got to be really good friends with the studio manager. His name was Quan Burton. Amazing photographer, by the way. He was so helpful to me when I was just starting out. And I would bring in a cool fashion photo, and I would start kind of setting up the lights and just trying to emulate the lighting in each of those fashion ads. And he would also kind of help me a lot along the way. He's like, you might set this light here. So he was incredibly integral in me learning, just the basics of even how to turn on a light. So I kept doing that. Like once a week I would do that. I started out with one light, then I added a second light, and I started kind of learning the ProPhoto system, and it was super easy to use, which I loved. I always loved that beauty dish. I use the beauty dish with the soft white interior, and so I still keep it pretty simple in the way that I light. But now fast forward, when we're doing these big productions, I can't just focus on the lighting or anything like that. So I have a team now where I have an amazing lighting tech, Eric, and he is a lighting rock star. He's been doing it, 20 more years than me. And so we just have the same kind of vision for the lighting. So we get along really well. And we almost don't even have to speak on set. Like, he is amazing at what he does and knows what to tweak and how to set it up. And so now it's kind of I'm grateful to get to work with him on the lighting stuff. So, I think that most of the successful photographers out there, that really, really the top notch folks, they all do sort of have a tech now that they've trained for lighting, a digital tech for capture, for tethered capture. We're all shooting. I'm in the studio, certainly everything is tethered into, shooting into Capture One. Right.
And it, the beauty of being able to work on location, or work and see where you are on location, not in the post-production room, makes such a difference. And I think there's still people that are they're still afraid of it a bit. But,
I think I was afraid of it in the beginning, just capturing tethered to a computer. We always, use the Capture One. When I was first starting, I remember thinking, oh gosh, people are going to see my work right out of the camera. That is a very intense, because you kind of have to shoot spot on. And then when you're shooting campaigns for like Nikon Japan where they don't allow any retouching because they want it to be truth in advertising. So everything has to be pretty dialed in when you shoot for stuff like that. And when you shoot tethered, it's like a whole nother element because the whole crew is around a computer.
Yeah. Your art director is staring at a screen this big.
Yes. Your makeup artist is like looking at the hair and makeup, and your stylist is looking at the wardrobe, and it's a whole other experience.
Boy.
Yeah.
So let's visit, let's back up just a little bit and talk about your lighting a little bit. But your lighting tools. I know that when the transition to the B1s came out, I think you were one of the early ones on board with the B1s.
Yes.
And I think you're still using B1 or B1Xs quite a bit.
Correct. Those are our favorite on set, just because we're always on location and you just never know what kind of, we don't want to have to lug a generator onto set. So we're always, I have the B1s, and sometimes we'll rent the B1Xs, and we'll have tons of extra batteries just in case. And that's kind of what we roll with, you know, to keep it easy. You don't have any cords. It's amazing. They're so reliable.
And it allows you can move so much faster now.
Exactly.
And I've transitioned over to the B10s, of course, as well. And
yes.
Boy, what a difference the
what
world.
A treat.
What a treat. I can get in, photograph a guy for an annual report in his office, get it done, and be out of there in 7 minutes or something.
Exactly.
And never plug in a cord.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
It blows my mind. And they're also very soft. The way that they've built the lighting, it seems like it's pretty, even the bare bulb, it has like a softness to it because of the glass in front of it. I just think they've killed it with the
it's funny how you and Matthew Jordan Smith have so much in common in that he won't go to work without a beauty dish. He says, that's it. I'm not going to work without my beauty dish, period.
Yes. I love Matthew.
So
he's amazing.
He's quite a guy, I'll tell you.
Yes. I learned a lot from him as well in the lighting. Maybe he's the reason why I love the beauty dish.
I think a lot of us did. He really, it's just when it's funny how this all goes. You start getting, a little bit better and better and better. And pretty soon you look around, you're like, hey, I'm doing okay. And then you see somebody else and you go, oh my gosh, I am awful. I am terrible at this. I should never get paid for doing a job. Ever.
That is so true. The struggle is
the struggle is real. Oh my gosh.
It's like it's never ending. Your portfolio is never done.
It's never done.
There's always more you can learn.
Everyone
that's what makes it fun.
Everyone I know has 5 pictures on their website that they hate and that they should not be on their website. And nobody goes and takes them down. They just sit there.
They just sit there. That's so true.
Excuse me.
You're fine.
Oh. So I've seen you lecture some, and you talking certainly for Nikon at some of the events and things. Yeah. What do you talk about to, say, new people, especially new photographers, about what do they need to do that's sort of absolutes in order to get this thing moving and become successul even over time? But what is it what are their main steps that they have to absolutely pay attention to?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's not super important that you go to school for photography. I think, it's great if you can, but if you don't, you can kind of dive in. And I would say shoot everything until you find out something you love to shoot, what your ultimate passion is. Then focus on and create a portfolio around that sort of niche. Even if you're shooting everything, to pay the bills and whatnot. Like when I was shooting weddings and portraits, I was still only mainly posting that fashion and commercial work, even if it was spec work, because I knew that eventually that would attract the kind of clients that I really wanted to shoot for. And it has actually worked, because what you put out there is what you get back. And especially with photography, you've got to show the kind of work that you want to be shooting. So I'd say definitely learn your craft. Assist other photographers if you can, attend trade shows and events to learn as much as you can in the industry, and then start creating that portfolio. And once you have a good solid base of like 20, 25 images, take that and then show that to the people that you're your dream clients. For instance, if you're a portrait photographer, show it to friends and family and all these different people that might hire you. If you're wanting to do commercial, then you want to make meetings with art directors and creative directors and show your work that way. And once you get a couple of jobs going, then that's just going to kind of compound. And the more art directors that I've gotten to know, the more jobs that I get with just word of mouth and whatnot, which is the best kind of advertising.
Yeah. And I think, it's funny how also we're sort of hesitant to toot our own horn, so to speak.
Yeah.
If you don't have a publicist doing it for you, you have to do it yourself.
That's so true.
And so you have to let the world know what it is that you're doing and the hits and misses.
So true.
Well, not the misses, but the hits especially.
Right.
And I remember listening to John Paul Caponegro, made a great,
awesome.
fabulous fine art photographer. And he made the comment one time that he says, if you want to succeed in this, you have to find what it is that you feel that you're best at, and you have to work it and stop doing all that stuff that you don't like and that you're not good at. Stop doing it, because people will come after you for that work that you want to do. If that's what you put out there, they'll find you. And but if you hate working with children, get all the children portraits off of your website.
Exactly.
Take them down.
You can still do the work, just don't do it,
Well, that's it. And I look at people's websites all the time when I teach. If I'm teaching a small class, I'll always go through and look at everybody's site before I go to class. And I'll see, photography by Bob, specializing in women, fashion, portraits, maternity, children, babies, passport pictures. I mean, they specialize in everything. And I just start off by saying, no, you don't.
No.
Your children work is fabulous. Stop everything else. Or, but you have to follow your heart, and you have to follow that one thing. And if you do it well, and people will seek you out and they will find you for that work.
That's so true. And sometimes it's like better if you have that person like you to tell them that, because sometimes when you're so in it, you can't see that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I didn't mean to interrupt you.
I know. No, you're fine. I know that I've had to tell students. Yeah. I've gone through their websites and said, you've got to get these off of here. These are not helping you. Exactly. It's like headshot websites, and they've got 200 of the exact same headshot. Stop that.
Right.
Show them 4. You don't need 200.
Make them want more.
Make them want more.
Yes, less is more.
So are you finding, now that we're rounding the corner, people are taking off their masks a bit. Travel is opening up. I'm getting on a plane. I've been on one airplane. Actually, no, I haven't been. I'm getting on my first airplane in July for Las Vegas.
Oh, nice.
So I haven't been on a plane, and I'm wondering how people are feeling about this. Are you seeing that this is loosening up and you're about to get busier and start traveling again? Yeah. Or are you kind of staying close to home and
I'm ready to
You're ready.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. Okay. This is the longest I have gone without doing much travel, but I did do my first flight for a job in May. And it was fine, easy breezy, and we shot for a denim brand, and all was well. So it's funny how when something's taken away from you, how much more you appreciate something, because I think I had gotten to a point before COVID, I was working so hard and I was working so much that it was becoming a little bit more, I don't know what the word is, just, going, and I wasn't appreciating as much as I should. Now that I'm jumping back into it after having a breather from the travel and all that, I'm just like so into it. Like, this is just such my ultimate passion. I'm just grateful for every job.
Yeah. So and now you're just ready to go.
Yeah,
so if we were to have a conversation about what's next for you, what is there a mountain out there that you still haven't climbed that you're anxious to go try to jump on?
There are many.
Excuse me.
Very many. Oh gosh. But we've been doing a lot. It's interesting how it all comes full circle. We've been doing a campaign for this hotel that's opened up in Fort Worth. It's a big resort hotel. It's a Marriott autograph collection. So I've been shooting architecture. I've been shooting food photography, all of these things that I never really shot, but they wanted me to bring my sort of fashion style into the hotel to make it sort of a high-end campaign and experience. So I've been loving it. I never thought that I would enjoy shooting food, but it's not probably something I would post on my website, but it's been a really fun opportunity. We're going to be doing a film for them as well about the making of the hotel. So that'll be the director.
Fantastic.
Yeah, the director
Fantastic.
aspect. So I'm excited.
I wouldn't be at all surprised if we one day hear this such and such new film directed by,
That would be cool.
I do think there's such a correlation between, especially DPs, but
Right.
directors as well, and
Yeah.
musicians. And it's funny how musicians, I don't know where that connection, I'm not sure how those wires connect,
Yeah.
but I can stand in a room of photographers and ask how many have a background in music.
Mhm.
And not a third, but a lot of the room will raise their hand.
Yes.
And I don't know where that comes from, but
That's
they all
interesting.
have the same passion for photography, for
Yes.
filmmaking, video making, of course,
Right.
music. All of it is in this. I know it's in the arts, but
Right.
still, it's the same kind of. I just don't know where the connection is made.
It's just like self-expression. I feel like. I mean,
Maybe
I
that's it.
love music. If I could sing, I would probably be a singer, but I can't sing, unfortunately. I did play the saxophone, and I loved it. I know you were in band.
I love bands. I've been a drummer
Yes.
since I was 12 or 13, and I've played in bands with other photographers.
Yes. I
love that. We had a little band for a while with Jerry Gionis, and Jerry was our front man.
Yes.
And that little band was called Full Frame Boogie. And then there's a band of photographers in Texas that I play with, and now we're all photographers, and we're called Bad Exposure. So it's
so
just
cute.
It's just fun. It's just
It's
been a lot of fun.
Well, it's all a big part of that self-creation or
I think so.
self-expression. Yeah.
I sometimes will relate lighting
Mhm.
styles to music, like
Yeah.
hard light, small sources, hard cutting edge light,
Right.
like hard rock, quick cutting edge music.
That's true.
Where then there's the soft, easy going light of large soft boxes, 4x6, 3x4s in close, big silks, and it's soft and dreamy, like elevator music, classical music, soft and dreamy.
Yes. I wonder if the music you listen to sort of has an impact on the way that you light.
It might. I used to always ask my clients when I was shooting a portfolio, I would always ask them what was the last 10 songs that they downloaded.
Wow.
Because I think it will teach you a little bit about them and their psyche. Is this a girl that is a little edgy, or is she a little bit more conservative? Does she want something more rigid?
I love that. That's a great tip.
It's just a conversation, Let's talk about music and whatever the music style that they sort of gravitate to.
Right.
I think that's the same way I would shoot them,
That's cool. So. I love that. 'Cause I always try to have their favorite music on set to put them at ease. But asking them the 10 songs that they recently downloaded is a really cool tip.
Yeah.
I like that.
Small silly thing.
Yeah.
So are there any photographers on your radar that you're watching, new upcoming folks that are just blowing you away that people should be aware of? Anybody that's getting you currently?
I feel like I find a new one every day. I mean,
there is a lot
amazing shooters.
There
out
is a
there.
lot. Yeah.
Gosh, I wish I could. I follow so many great new shooters on Instagram, and I'm always so inspired. Even when I get to do workshops and stuff of what photographers are shooting, it's really inspiring.
Yeah,
the amazing work people are doing.
It's funny too, how everybody, all of us. We all have our own brand of everything.
Right.
From cameras to lenses, from Nikon to Canon to Fuji.
Yes.
From Profoto to whatever lights. And the bottom line is most pictures in history, you go back in history, it's some of the greatest photographs any of us have ever seen.
Yeah.
Was taken with far more inferior gear than we have today.
Oh, absolutely.
So
that's so true.
We have to keep a little bit grounded and say, yeah, it's not the gear. I'm sorry. Somewhere in there's an eye, and somebody had an idea and they went out of the way to get the shot.
Exactly.
And maybe we wouldn't have gone to that. I think of that photograph of Ansel Adams up on the roof of his car with an 8x10 view camera, standing up over tunnel view, looking down in, Yosemite. And I'm thinking, who would do that? Well, he went out of his way to get that work.
He did.
And
that's what it takes.
You have to do that sometimes.
It's so much fun doing that because when you get that shot, I don't think there's any better feeling in the world.
You can't beat it.
You can't.
Okay, so before we're going to wrap up and let you go here in a little bit, let's talk about. I want to know what are the 3 favorite pieces of gear that you will not leave home without.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
that's tough. Okay.
So what do you have to? They are next to you while you're working.
Are we just talking camera lenses,
anything,
lighting,
everything?
I would say my new Z7 II, the
Okay.
Nikon.
Okay.
God, I mean, talk about high resolution. That thing is incredible. I mean, just the skin tones and everything. And then I would say my 105 millimeter Nikkor lens. I cannot do a job without that. And then I would probably say a B1X.
Okay.
Or a B1. I think those would be the 3. Because we actually utilize those bare bulb a lot, lighting wise. Like we'll put them behind the models if it's super overcast outside, and we'll just kind of have a nice hair light in the back, and then maybe a little lens flare, like point it towards camera, create a kind of a cool look. And that 105 is just, it's beautiful.
It works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how once we got to a real working, accurate B battery pack kind of lights that are monolights that have TTL capability and high speed sync capability. Mm-hmm. Once we got to that point, everything changed for me.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden I'm excited about photography again because I'm doing things I've never done. I've never in my career been able to shoot at a 4,000th or a 8,000th out there at f4, f5. I couldn't do it. I now can. And
the
so
high-speed sync is a game changer.
It's changed everything.
Yes.
And the accuracy with the pre-flash of the TTL is remarkable.
It is.
Well, is there anything you want people to know about you that we haven't talked about, or what is it that you really want? What message you want to send out there to those that are maybe they're struggling, maybe they're intermediate in their career and they're kind of struggling. They hit a stuck point and need something to push them on forward. What would you maybe tell them?
I've hit many of those points, and I always, it'll be a teary, teary experience. And it's interesting how much shooting personal work, like if you're feeling burned out, if you're feeling exhausted, like you can't go on as far as shooting and whatnot, I would say go out and just shoot something that you love, because that invigorates your creativity and that's going to re-inspire you to continue to do this. This is a tough business, and I think a lot of people see what you do. Like people might see what I do shoot wise and think that a lot of this stuff is all set up for me and I just get to show up and shoot, and that is just not the case.
Yeah.
We do the whole entire production. It is a ton of grit and a ton of groundwork to make these shoots happen. And I would say that any of you guys that are interested in doing that kind of work and doing photography, like you can do this. Photography is one of the best things that you can do, I feel like, in this life. It's creative expression, it's connecting with people, and you get to set out and show people how you see the world. And I think there's not a lot of jobs that allow you to do that. So I would say if this is your passion, go for it. Like you can do this.
Well, and I think that's great words. And I do think that there's also to go along with the passion is you got to have some stick-to-itiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to, and if there's something you want to go for, you have to work hard and go after it.
Absolutely.
I know some people that have worked with Joe McNally over the years. He was one of my favorite people alive.
Yes.
And some of the others out there that, these guys work really, really, really hard. And they're not top photographers of the world because they're lazy or because they've been sprinkled with magic dust. They work hard all the time.
Yes. And the final result is so beautiful and it looks effortless, but what's behind that is so much grit. It
wasn't effortless. It's like the story of the great swan that's so graceful across the lake and under the water just paddling like crazy,
That is so well said.
Nobody sees the paddle. They just see the beautiful swan going by.
That is so accurate. I feel
well, you are such a favorite industry swan to me. I did a workshop in Indianapolis probably a year, well, just before COVID locked us down.
Yeah.
For a great camera store for pro photos, Roberts in Indianapolis, Roberts
Right.
Camera. And as I walked in the door, they had a life-size cutout of Dixie. There you are, standing inside the door when I walked in the door, and I'm carrying bags and I'm sweating and I'm rushing in from the airport, and I throw the door open and I'm walking in and I went, Dixie, and then I was like, oh wait, it's not Dixie. That's a cardboard. That was your twin. You had a little twin Dixie there.
I did.
So, but it was great to see you in Indianapolis, even though you weren't even there.
I'm glad my twin was there.
It was. Well, I adore you. You know how I am about you. I'm so thrilled that you joined me in this evening. I know we have a big crowd. We have a lot of people in this room.
Yes,
and I'm
such an
so
honor.
Appreciative.
You're such an amazing light in this industry.
Oh,
You've done
please.
so much
for
this
industry.
No, it's so true.
Well, I just have some fun.
Amazing.
I just have some fun. And my great mentor was a guy named Dean Collins.
Yeah.
And before we lost him in 2005, he said to me when he was pretty sick, he said, you have to keep this thing going. And he said, always remember, you got to leave this industry better than you found it.
Oh, that's so well said.
Find a way, whatever you do, I don't care. But he said, find a way to make it better.
You are doing that.
I'll try because he told me to. So I'll always do what I can.
Exactly.
But we appreciate you so much.
Oh, and it's such a fun to get to talk.
Your website, DixieDixon.com. It's pretty simple. People can find you. I would really encourage everybody to look at her work and go through those, especially some of those fashion videos that she's doing, the commercials. And the behind-the-scenes documentary videos are sensational.
Oh, thank you.
Really, really great.
And, I'm on Instagram under I am Dixie Dixon.
I am Dixie Dixon. Well, there you go.
Dixie Dixon wasn't available. I don't know who else has that name. Well, feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much.
So much fun, Tony.
I loved it.
See you.
Thank you. You're the best. Thank you, Pro Photo. Thank you, Fuji Film. Thank you, Andrew. I think Andrew's still in the room. Thank you, Andrew.
Awesome.
And so great to see so many of my friends on here. William, thank you. John Cornicello, my brother from another mother.
Yes.
Thank you all so very much. I appreciate it. And this is being recorded, so you'll all have a chance to rewatch it and get inspired by this little Energizer bunny from Texas. So thank you all so much. Have a great night, everybody. Thank you.